time. Plenty of great stuff coming up on today's broadcast of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. I'm very honored and privileged to be here with you, and we have a ton of awesome guests coming up here today inside of monpauspopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. We're going to start the broadcast off with a trio of guests coming from the Syracuse Orange men's basketball team. Of course, you know I was out in Charlotte last week for the ACC tip-off and had the opportunity to speak with every single team across the ACC outside of Miami who was home, obviously because of the Hurricane Milton. So our prayers continue to go out to the great state of Florida, to Jim Larinaga and his team with the Miami Hurricanes, and of course, everyone everywhere who has loved ones in the path in the Carolinas. Hurricane Helene obviously went through some of those areas as well. So our prayers and our well wishes. Those of you that know the show and know what I do here, you know that Florida is a second home, and North Carolina has become another home in and of itself. So I would be praying for you wherever you are. And I have special ties and a special connection to the state of North Carolina and the state of Florida. So if you will oblige me this morning before we get started, I'd like to say a prayer for all of those that are dealing with the storms, as well as loved ones that are concerned about their loved ones in these areas. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. God, I ask you today to help us all to heal and to handle well whatever comes our way. Life gets hard, and there are things that are far beyond our control. In situations like these storms, we are humbled to know that little is in our control in this world except for how we act and what we say. I pray that you help everyone to repair, to heal, and to find a path forward, and that path forward toward you and toward the kingdom of God. For those who have passed on, I pray and hope that they are safe and sound in heaven, reunited with their loved ones that have also passed on. And for those here on earth that are picking up the pieces, I pray and I hope that they're with their loved ones here on earth, safe and sound, and with you as well. And that those that have had someone pass away are always connected to that person, even in death, because dying you destroyed our death, Jesus, and rising you restored our life. So beyond everything else, I pray for peace, I pray for love, I pray for strength of all kinds, I pray for clarity, and to just have the community and the support. A little goes a long way, and I just pray for the rebuilding of homes, the rebuilding of businesses, and that everyone will be okay, hopefully is okay. And to anyone that's not, I pray and I hope that you will be very soon. In Jesus' most precious name, I pray for the great people of North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, and wherever things have hit. Of course, Texas and other areas that have been affected before. You're in our prayers, including the conflicts around the country and the world, because there are issues within our own country and there's issues around the world. So I pray for healing completely and for good, and no matter what, healing through you, God. And I pray to handle well whatever comes our way, in Jesus' most precious name. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. May we learn to love and laugh and be kind and care about our neighbor and be good to each other all the days of our life. May goodness truly win again. So with that being said, I thank you for that. I just thinking about a lot of people down there and hearing stories and whatnot. And I think when storms pass, we go on to the next story and forget that life is not a news story. Life is life. And it's always going on. And after the storm passes through, there's things that people unfortunately sometimes have to work through. And I just want to let them know that they're not forgotten. Not by God, and not here. So God bless you all, and I'm praying and hoping for you. And as somebody who worked on Hurricane Katrina relief, I know how insane life can look afterward. And I just want everyone to quickly and positively and fully get back to normal, and hopefully even better than that. So in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Thank you for all of your goodness and for all the wonderful people in North Carolina and Florida and everywhere else. With that being said, inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', we're going to jump into my conversations this morning with the Syracuse Orange. Like I said, I was at ACC Tip-Off in Charlotte, North Carolina. I had the opportunity to speak with every single team that was there. Unfortunately, didn't have the opportunity, like I said, to speak with Miami because Miami was home. But Syracuse is going to be up here today, and the conversation with the Syracuse Orange is going to include my Q&As with head coach of the Syracuse Orange men's basketball team, Adrian Autry, as well as forward Chris Bell and guard JJ Starling. So you'll hear and see my Q&As with each of these gentlemen. Then in hour number 2, as you know, on Tuesdays, we have Bearcat Time in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with the Binghamton University Bearcats. I have the opportunity and the blessing of welcoming for the first time ever to the broadcast Binghamton men's tennis student athlete here inside of the 2024-25 season, Ronin Lotlikar, who joins me originally from Bengaluru, India. So very excited to tell his story on the show this morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and then we'll round out the show as we always do on Wake Up Call on Tuesdays with the ingredients to success, proudly presented by the fantastic team at Avicolli's. You can now head there 7 days a week as they're now open on Mondays, and their food is fantastic. You can see the pictures of the pizza here, their margarita pizza. Their grandma's pie is second to nobody. No one at all. So you got to get the grandma's pie, got to get the veal. Really, honestly, I've had so many different dishes there, and I love their food. There's just, being a card-carrying Italian, you look for places that have great flavor and know what they're doing. Because when you get Italian food inside of the house, you know it's going to be really good in your family. So when you go out to eat, you want it to be on par. And I got to say that Avicolli's is above and beyond. And I appreciate John and the team so very much. So we'll get into the ingredients to success around 10:50 a.m. Eastern Time today. And that is going to be on the topic, what you bring in. What you bring into your life. We're going to discuss that on this morning's broadcast of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So a lot of great stuff coming up. Appreciate you being here as always. And so we're going to take a step aside for a fast break. And when we come back, you will see my Q&A with Adrian Autry. Avicolli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicolli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicolli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicollis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9 K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to K9 Campground.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, we are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're going to be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever going to have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. It's time to get into my conversations from ACC kickoff with the Syracuse Orange. And I'm going to start things off with my Q&A with Adrian Autry, the head coach of the men's basketball team, on the turnover of the team. A lot of new faces on this team coming into the 2024-25 season. Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. How are you, Coach?
What's going on, Dan?
Not too much. So just what you could say about, I mean, there has been turnover with this team, and we're going to see a lot of new faces this season. What you can say about those new faces coming in, be it the transfer portal as well as true freshmen?
You know, I think what I've been able to see from the time that we've got together in July, and I think what people will see is a lot of experience, skill. You know, we've addressed some of the things. You know, last year these two guys were, you know, our top perimeter guys. I think we've had an addition of adding some guys that can also shoot the ball with low post presence. I just think you'll see a rounded out group. The one thing that sticks out with this group right now is just the way they've gelled on and off the court. And you're starting to see that as we get closer to the season of that connection.
Other questions for Coach from the room?
So that coming from
right.
Adrian Autry here on the broadcast and having the opportunity to speak with Coach. Obviously, I've known Adrian for a long time. We actually did a show together at Borio's restaurant a few years back, and we talked about him wanting to be a head coach, and that was the ultimate goal. And that was, boy, that was at least 7 years ago. I think it was like 8 years ago, 7 or 8 years ago. So happy to see him doing it, happy to see him have an opportunity. And he talked about the fact that J.J. Starling and Chris Bell were two of the guys that were shooting on the perimeter, and they feel like they brought in more shooters, which Syracuse desperately needed from last season. We look at that first season that Adrian has ever been a head coach, And the next portion of my Q&A with Adrian Autry is about that year one. What did he learn? As well as a totally separate question about Chance Westry and when we're going to see him. Coach, two questions, totally different. But year one for you as a head coach, I know you've waited a long time. You and I were sitting at, I think, Borio's restaurant talking about you being a head coach someday years ago. So just what you could say about what you've taken away, wisdom and knowledge in year one, and then separate from that, Chance Westry, we've waited a long time to see him, just what you expect from him.
The first question is, what have I taken from the first year? I think the one thing is you get more convicted in your whys, whatever that may be. Why I chose to do this, or why I recruited this person, or why I've done that. I think the first year coming away, I've been more convicted in my whys and understanding a little bit more of what I want to do and how I want to do it. And the second question, Chance is, he was getting back into shape, and then I think at the end of the summer, he really started hitting his stride. We expect Chance to be a guy that can come in and play multiple positions. As of right now, Chance has had a little illness. We expect him back in a couple of weeks. He's a guy that can play on the ball and off the ball. He gives you versatility. He's a guy that can play 1, 2, and 3 for us. So we're just excited. He's had a really good summer. Now we just little bump in the road, and now we wait for him to get back. But he'll be back. Nothing serious.
So, Coach, talking about Chance Westry again, we didn't see Chance last season after he transferred in. So, yeah, William, time does fly. Talking about how many years ago I spoke with Adrian at Borio's, which you just heard, about him wanting to be a head coach someday. But, yeah, Chance Westry, it's been the waiting game, right? You hear about this guy, and you hear about what he could potentially bring to the table. Where's number 11 for the Orange? He's coming from Auburn, from the SEC. He's originally from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and he played in 2022-23. He did not play last season after coming to Syracuse, and he can because the transfer portal has little to no rules anymore, so you can play right away. And so, he was out, and we waited, and then it kind of became something that you just were like, okay, we're probably not going to see Chance. And now going into this season, the hopes of seeing him, you just heard Adrian Autry say that he has an illness and that he may be out for a few weeks. Now, keep in mind, I spoke with Adrian about this last Thursday, so about a week ago, and he said a couple weeks. So maybe a week from now, if this is a week later, then maybe by, let's see, today. So I spoke with Adrian on, the 10th? And yeah, so maybe I'm looking at this right now. So I spoke with him on the 10th. So maybe by the 24th, he should be okay and ready to go. I mean, their first game is at the beginning of November. So hoping to see Chance, hoping he's okay. Whatever this illness is, hopefully it passes by and never comes back, and that he heals completely and for good by the grace of God, and is well and stays well in Jesus' most precious name. I pray for that, because, more than being a basketball player, he's a human being, and Chance seemingly has been through a lot of adversity, keeping him off the floor last season. I don't want to see him off the floor this season, so hoping to see him back very soon. With that being said, I'm going to jump into my Q&A with Chris Bell, and this is what Chris had to say. Now, last year, Chris and I had a conversation, and it stuck with me. He spoke about not wanting to be an energy consumer, that you come in the room and you take the energy, right? You suck the energy out of the room, not to be the energy consumer, but to give energy. So that mental side of things, the energy side of things, that's what we spoke about going into this season. We spoke about it throughout last season after he said it to me. And now as we step into 2024-25, I wanted to see where he was at. So here we go. Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. Last season, Chris, you and I talked about the mental side of things and how you stay locked in and the energy that you bring to the team. Just what you can say about evolving in that world of the mental side of things, as well as what type of energy you're bringing in to practice, bringing into the game. Just what you can say is how you've evolved from that, essentially.
I think every day, since the start of the new season, just coming in every day being a professional, coming in ready to work. When I take bad shots or when I make bad plays, it's how you respond to that. I think I've done a really good job of just, playing basketball at the end of the day and just enjoying it. I think I would get too frustrated in the game sometimes or things like that, but also not being an energy consumer. I'm a junior now, so, I got to lead by example, those type of things, but I'm not really a loud leader. I'm very quiet in the things I do, but, I try to show people by example or, talk to them like that, but really just, focusing on what the team needs me to do, whether that needs to be a scorer or facilitate for everybody or just be an energy guy on the bench. So
it sounds like the evolution, sticking by that, if we get that from Chris consistently, it sounds like, he will evolve as a leader. And there are some good things that can, we know he can make shots. We know he's a guy that can hit like 9 threes in a game. We also know that there was, some moments and some inconsistencies and like he said, some energy moments. So to see him, like he had stated, do they need me to score? Do they need me to deliver the ball to them? Right? Am I going to be the scorer? Am I going to set other people up, or am I going to, from the bench, be supportive? And if we get all of that from Chris, I think this team really will do better and evolve. He's, like he said, I'm a junior now, so he is a vet on the team. He's had time on this team, and what he shows moving forward here is going to be an example to the young guys, an example to the transfers on what the culture of this team should be. So Chris is definitely in a role to make a difference, and if he lives by all those things that he said, I think the team can definitely see the fruit of those vines that are growing with Chris Bell. Next up here is JJ Starling, defining leadership from his point of view. Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. JJ, for you, as you evolve in the role on this team, just what you can say about how you define your leadership going into this season, being one of those returning faces.
Yeah, it definitely is new, especially with the new guys, but it hasn't been, a hard acclimation for me. They made it easy, whether I'm leading verbally or just leading by example. Everybody's buying into the same thing because at the end of the day, we want to win. So, yeah, it's a new role for me, but I'm willing to do it because we all want to win. So,
JJ,
Coming from JJ Starling here, a new role, but saying he's willing to do it. Now, JJ, we saw him last season just take off, right? There would be in the first half of a game, he would do really well, or in the second half of a game. But with Judah Mintz running the point and Judah Mintz having the ball a lot of the time, we weren't seeing the delivery to JJ. And my frustration last year for this team, one of the things I was frustrated about was the fact that Judah wasn't feeding JJ, that other guys weren't feeding JJ. You feed the hot hand, and a lot of times he was the hot hand. And if his jump shot's gotten better and his three-point shooting's gotten better and his mid-range, we know that he could do different things there and attacking the basket and getting out in transition and running, because I think that that's something that a lot of fans miss about Syracuse, and Adrian, I believe, was working to bring that back, right? Get the guys out in transition, move fast, get to the basket, get high percentage shots. For many, many years, in the final few years of Jim Boeheim, we didn't see that as much. And to see that now that's an asset. It's an absolute asset to have something like that. And I just feel like JJ he has too much potential to not see the ball enough. And so I'm hoping that he definitely will have more opportunities to not only create for himself, but to create for others and have others create for him. I'm looking forward to seeing what JJ could do. The hometown kid, super, super happy that somebody who came from Baldwinsville and the Bees is here in Syracuse, New York. Now, speaking of delivering and creating opportunities, there's new faces in the backcourt with JJ Starling, and I asked him about it. That's what he had to say. JJ, with the guys coming in that are going to be helping in the backcourt, just how you would describe some of those new faces and gelling together through the summer, just what that backcourt looks like that's going to be assisting you.
Yeah, as Chris said, they're all dogs. We're making plays for each other, and we all can shoot, we can play make, we can dribble, pass. So it's going to be fun. We really look forward to playing for each other. That's the type of style that Coach Red wants us to play with, and we're playing that naturally right now. So it's going to be a fun season, just being able to make plays for each other and just win.
Talking about making plays for each other. And for those of you that don't know, this team has newness. They have a bunch of new faces. And, I mean, yes, transfer portal happens and the NBA and whatnot, but this Syracuse team in the last few seasons with Jim Boeheim, there was a lot of turnover. There were, a bunch of guys leaving the program. Last season, we saw turnover and change. And so now, taking a look at this roster and who's on the team, for those of you that don't know, Kyle Cuff is back wearing number 0. He's from Harlem, and he returns as a redshirt junior. Did some good things off the bench. I believe that leadership can come from him. I believe that he could be the guy that's part of those key plays that decide 1 or 2 possessions in the winning of a game. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Donnie Freeman is a new face. He's wearing number 1. He's a true freshman from Washington, D.C. JJ, who you just heard from, of course, is back, a junior from Baldwinsville, New York. Lucas Taylor from Raleigh, North Carolina. He is a senior coming into the team. He's going to wear number 3, a very well-known number, Preston Shumpert's number, Jerry McNamara's number. Chris Bell, who you heard from Concord, California, continues to wear number 4, the junior. Jaquan Carlos from Brooklyn, a senior transferring in, will wear number 5. Josh Pace's number. Peter Mistorovic from France comes in, the 6'8" true freshman wearing number 6. Elijah Moore from the Bronx, a true freshman wearing number 8. Naheem McLeod comes back on the team after going out with an injury last season, and God willing, he'll be okay and stay okay, and we could see the evolution of his game, and more than anything else, his health and consistency. He is a senior center and transferred into Syracuse last season, standing at 7'4", and wears number 10. Chance Westry, number 11, redshirt sophomore from Harrisburg, PA, and was out last season. Hopefully will be back here on the team. Anthony Clayton from Albany, New York, number 12, a senior coming into the team. Jair Davis from Newark, Delaware, a senior wearing number 13, transferring in at 6'7". Noah Lobdell comes onto the team from Faith Heritage, and he's from Syracuse, New York, a freshman at 6 foot. Chaz Owens, Billy Owens' son, is wearing number 30. He is a graduate this year. I can't believe how time flew for that. From Blue Bell, Pennsylvania, wearing number 30. Chris Gaddy from Katona, New York, from the Masters School, a sophomore at guard, and wearing number 44, a number we haven't seen in a very long time, a number that is synonymous with Derek Coleman and John Wallace, Eddie Lampkin Jr. transferring into Syracuse, originally from Houston, Texas. The graduate center, standing at 6'11", will wear the very well-known number 44. Before we hop out of these conversations with Syracuse, I did ask Adrian Autry if J.J. Starling and Chris Bell were in a room that he wasn't in, how would they describe him? And this is what he answered with. Coach, you got 2 of your guys here with you that you spent a lot of time with, and J.J. and Chris. How do you think they would describe you? If you weren't in the room right now, how do you feel like they would describe you?
I don't think we can say that. I don't know. I think they would probably say that I push them, I challenge them. I think they'd say that, on the court, I'm push and challenge off the court. We can talk and have a conversation, and I'm there for them. I help them any way possible. That's what I would hope they would say.
So that coming from Adrian Autry, speaking on the court, he pushes them and challenges them. Off the court, he hopes that they would say that he can have they can have a conversation with him. They can go and talk to him about different things. So excited about the season. It's year 2 for Adrian Autry, and a lot of question marks, a lot of hopes. And what I would ask every fan is to be a fan, not a fanatic, to be a fan. And what I mean by that is, I don't even know if I want to call it fanatic anymore, but it's being a fan versus just being like a knucklehead, right? The people that go to games and they hate their wives and they hate their husbands and they scream at Adrian Autry because they can't scream at home because like they don't own the channel changer at home and they have no control of their household. So they come to the game and they lose their minds and say that they're better than this guy and they can do this and they can do that and blah, blah, blah. The Dome should never be a road game for the home team. That's what I'm trying to say. The Dome should never be a road game for the home team. And what I mean by that is, I mean, we've seen Trevor Cooney get hate from Syracuse fans. We've seen it from, I mean, there's a lot of negativity thrown at Jim Boeheim in his final couple of years. There was some very disturbing words from the student section. So, you know, I would say when you're a fan, be a fan. And you can be frustrated. I'm not telling you to be a rose-colored glasses fan. I'm asking you to be a fan. That if you support your team, you support them when it's cold outside, you support them when it's raining, you support them when it's windy, not just when it's sunny. And this Syracuse Orange team, there's a lot of new faces. And Adrian Autry is still getting his feet wet as a head coach. So understand that things take time. I know we live in a microwave society where people can't wait a minute for something to heat up in the microwave. It's got to be done. So let's remember that as quick as technology makes things for us and as accessible as things are, that things that matter in life always take time. It takes time to repair a home. It takes time to build something. It takes time to get to know. It takes time to learn. It takes time to evolve. The things that really matter in life cannot be done rapidly. They have to be done over time, building brick by brick. So as this team builds a home, as this team learns and grows together, all that I ask is if you wear orange and blue with Syracuse across your chest, that you act like it and you support them. We got some things that came in here. William said, I'm hoping this is a tourney team we have this year. On paper it is, I'd say. It's going to be an interesting year. How long will Adrian be around if he doesn't make the tournament again this year? Well, you know, I think the window for Adrian, I said this last year, I think the window, it depends. I mean, I think it's a lot easier for John Wildhack to give Adrian a raise than it was for him to go hire a new person. So I do think that Syracuse probably saved money, which is not necessarily fair to Adrian. But I do think that Syracuse making this move, because Syracuse isn't known to spend a lot of money. I mean, think about with Boeheim, whatever Boeheim made, like he had a bunch of endorsements beyond that. So Boeheim's not hurting for money. I would imagine he's fine. So as long as he takes care of it, but he wasn't paid what the market would deem he was worth. Like based on some other coaches out there, Jim should have been making $5, $6 million, $8 million a year. So, you know, how long does Adrian last if he doesn't make it to the tournament? I think Adrian has a 3-year window. I think he has a 3-year window. But we also saw Wildhack give Dino Babers 8 years. So, you know, do I think that Syracuse... I think if this was a program that was like, we have to win, and we have to win now, and they had that like kind of SEC atmosphere, then I would think that Adrian would have 3 years max and would have to make the tournament. But because it's Syracuse University, they may give him more time. My hope in knowing Adrian and having a friendship with him outside of the game, I want to see him succeed. So, I mean, it's not something that I want to sit here and talk about, like, when's his last day at Syracuse. For number one, I don't wish bad on anybody. Number two, I want to see him succeed. I want him to remember the people that were there on his road to where he is today. And I want him to remember that the people that celebrate him may be a lot of people now, but there was a group of people that celebrated him before these days happened. And I want him to be cognizant of the people that have been there for a very long time. And to know those that have gone to bat for him. I mean, I was what? One of a few people that said he should get the job? Because people were calling for Jerry McNamara. They were calling for people from the outside. There were people that wanted Rick Pitino. There were people that wanted Jay Wright. And that was never going to happen. So, you know, I mean, for me, I want to see Adrian succeed. Of course I want to see him succeed. And I want the best for him and his family. How long is he here if they don't make the tournament? Depends on John Wildhack and how John looks at it. But, I mean, I would think Adrian has 2 or 3 years total in this kind of like beginning phase of what he can bring to the table. But ultimately, you know, I'm not going to look for an end to his road. I'm going to hope the best for him. I'm going to hope he remembers all the things that got him there and the pillars of that. And, you know, I appreciate him and got love and respect for him. So I hope things work out. We're going to take a step aside for a fast break, and we'll have some more thoughts before we get into hour 2, which will feature our newest Bearcat Breakroom with Ronin Lotlikar from Bengaluru, India, who is on the Binghamton men's tennis team.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. And as we're talking about Syracuse this morning, the Orange, to remind you what's going on here on the men's side of things in their schedule, they're going to start off the season with a game against, well, they have two exhibitions. They have an exhibition on October 26th, and they have an exhibition on October 30th. And then they will start the season in a game that counts against Lemoyne. And that's going to be on ACC Network Extra. Of course, you know, we have an exclusive partnership here at Wake Up Call and Dan Tortora Broadcast Media with the Lemoyne College Dolphins. First partnership of its kind ever signed at Lemoyne College. And we are in year number 4 of that. So that's going to be a lot of fun for me to have Syracuse and Lemoyne in the Dome on November 4th. And very much looking forward to that game. It is a Monday night. The game is going to be at 7 p.m. Eastern time here in Syracuse, New York. And then they'll face off at home against Colgate. Then they'll have Youngstown State. And then they head to the BK. They go to Brooklyn, and they'll be in the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. They'll play Texas, and then they could play St. Joseph's or Texas Tech. That's going to be in the latter part of November 21st, a Thursday, and November 22nd, a Friday. Then they'll be back home for Cornell, and then they'll go on the road to play Tennessee and Knoxville in the SEC-ACC Challenge. And their first game inside of the ACC is going to be against Notre Dame. That game is going to be on the CW, and that'll be in South Bend, Indiana on December 7th on a Saturday at noon Eastern time. Then they'll have Georgetown, their true rival. That'll be at home in the Dome on December 14th, which is a Saturday at 2:30 p.m. So looking forward to that. The Gotham Classic will send them back to the Garden against that'll send them to the Barclays. So they're going to be in the Barclays Center for 3 games this year. They got the Legends Classic and on November 21st and 22nd, and then they have the Gotham Classic on December 21st. So we're going to see them at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York a bunch of times, which is really cool because I think Syracuse every year should be in the Garden, should be at the Barclays Center. I think they should do both, honestly. And I think, you know, they should put a Big East game there. Have Syracuse against Villanova inside of the Garden. Do something like that. Or play St. John's. You know, I mean, the reality is it's been over a decade that Syracuse has been in the ACC, and I love the ACC. I mean, the people, the makeup, the coaches, the student athletes, the staff. I have a lot of respect for the ACC. Now, I'm impartial when I'm, you know, obviously saying who's going to win these games and whatnot. But I can tell you that there's some incredible people inside of the ACC, and that starts with Commissioner Jim Phillips, John Swofford before him, and Amy Avicolli, and so on and so forth. So, you know, the ACC is a fantastic conference. I want to start by saying that. The Big East is still home, though, in my opinion, when it comes to Syracuse and it comes to Pittsburgh and it comes to Notre Dame. You know, UConn's in the Big East. Again, Villanova is there, St. John's, Providence, Georgetown, Seton Hall. It's those games are the games that you want to see Syracuse play every year. And Syracuse runs a gamut in the ACC, and they have 20 ACC games. I think that they should, well, they have 18 schools now, so I don't know that they can necessarily do this, but because if you have 20 games, then you play everybody one time, which is 17 games. And then you have 3, so then you play 3 teams twice. That makes sense. But with the way that the ACC has been treated by the NCAA selection committee, I would almost say that they should go back to having less ACC games, maybe 16 to 18, and have some more non-conference games because Syracuse plays about 31 regular season games a year. And I would like to see Georgetown and Villanova, Georgetown and St. John's, Georgetown and UConn. Listen, I know it's going to be tough. And Adrian Autry could turn around and say, like, hey, playing these games is going to be insane for us because the ACC is already difficult. But I think that, fans miss the Big East. And Georgetown is still Syracuse's rival. I don't care that they're in different conferences. They're still each other's rival. I ask people when I'm on the street, I walk up to somebody and I say, who's Duke's rival? And they say North Carolina. And I say, who's North Carolina's rival from North Carolina's point of view? And they say Duke. And I say, who's Syracuse's rival in the ACC? And they say Duke. And I said, okay, so based on what you just told me, if Duke is North Carolina's rival and North Carolina's Duke's rival, and Syracuse, they consider Duke their rival, then Syracuse is the mistress of the ACC. Not the wife, the mistress. So the true rival for Syracuse is Georgetown. It's still Georgetown. You hear about these things that when Syracuse goes and plays Georgetown on the road, Georgetown limits the amount of tickets that they'll sell to Syracuse fans. Like, that's a real rivalry. Trying to hinder your ability to go and support your team because they don't want you there. They don't want the fans there. Like, they want Syracuse to feel alone on the court by themselves. I mean, this rivalry is real. When I interviewed Patrick Ewing after Pearl Washington had passed away, may he rest in peace, and I consider him a friend, and God bless to him and his loved ones, in Jesus' name. When I talked to Patrick about Pearl, after Pearl died, Patrick was still giving him backhanded compliments. That's how deep the rivalry goes. He said something to me like, he could drive the lane for someone who couldn't shoot. And I'm looking at Patrick like, he's dead now. Like, you can't just not say those things. He could drive the lane, period. Don't even have to say anything if you don't think he could shoot. But, like, usually after somebody passes away, people, like, tend to be a little bit nicer. Nope. So, not in the Syracuse Big East, and not in the Syracuse-Georgetown rivalry. So, I mean, Syracuse's schedule, it's going to be fun this year. They're definitely going to be challenged. I mean, Texas, and then, playing, remember that there's teams that, like, Tennessee is on the schedule here. Georgetown, we'll see what type of team they're going to look like this year. But that first game in the ACC, they always have that one game that kind of sits by itself, that earlier game, and then they go back to non-conference. That December 7th game on the road at Notre Dame is that game. And then they'll come home 3 days later and face off against Albany. Then they have Georgetown at home. Then I said they go back to Brooklyn to the Barclays for the Gotham Classic. And then they'll face off against Bucknell on December 28th in the Dome. And then they have ACC play, which will restart their first ACC home game of 2024-25. Will be against Wake Forest December 31st, my dad's birthday, on Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And yeah, they got a bunch of home games here, and they got some good ones that they're going to have. They'll have Notre Dame twice this year. I'm looking at who they're going to have twice. So they'll have Notre Dame twice. They'll have Boston College twice, which means there's a home and home. And I'm imagining Pitt. Yeah, so they'll have Pitt twice. They're going to play SMU in Dallas. Their last game of the regular season will be at home, and it's going to be on a Saturday, March 8th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time against Virginia. That's a good game to end the regular season with. They'll have NC State in the Dome this year. They'll have North Carolina in the Dome this year. They'll have Duke in the Dome this year. Wow, that's cool. So they have Duke on February 5th on a Wednesday. They got North Carolina February 15th on a Saturday. 10 days apart, less than 2 weeks. Duke and North Carolina both coming to the Dome. Virginia coming to the Dome. So nice schedule for Syracuse. I like it. I like it very much. So we're going to take a step aside for a fast break. Appreciate y'all joining me in the Syracuse conversation. We're going to head downstate to the southern tier, an hour away from Syracuse, New York, to Binghamton University for our conversation that happens right after this fast break. Here's a message from Renee from Brian's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McInerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Brian and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Brian and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Brian's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Brian's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Here is a special message from Brian Bruno, owner of Servomation Refreshments Incorporated.
I grew up in the family business, had the experience of working for a national food service company with thousands of employees, and as much as I enjoyed the experience I had, there's something about, owning my own company and being able to change the things I saw wrong with the industry firsthand, which is why I moved back to my hometown in Canastota, New York to launch Servomation. It was back in 2007. When we first started the business in 2007, really you didn't find any machines with credit card readers. There's a lack of variety in machines. You got stuck with basically whatever the vending company wanted to sell that day. There's a lot of inefficiencies in the business, and those were all things that we saw as opportunities, both from a customer level to improve and from an operating level to be more efficient. We've really been at the forefront of introducing retail technology into our space. We were doing self-checkout back in 2009 before it really became a national phenomenon. The whole point of it isn't to just improve the customer experience, it's to make it feel more like a retail environment where people don't have to be afraid of what they're buying behind glass. They don't have to be afraid of not being able to see the ingredients of the packages. It was an easy transaction from that standpoint. If we were to reinvent something, we wanted to make sure what we were making looked and felt more like a deli and not like something that you would traditionally see in a vending machine. I was tired of hearing for years the customers say the wheel of death because the vending machine would circle around with the same tuna salad in it. What we wanted to do was it really change the perception of that food. So allowing customers to touch it, allowing customers to feel the weight of it, allowing customers to see the freshness of it, and also the variety of it really helps them change the perception and ultimately the value of what we bring to them. The point of differentiation you have to make is either in value or the quality, and I think on both of those fronts, Servomation has really in large part changed that value system for employees, so they no longer have to worry about bringing their food from home or having to leave their desk during the day and rush out to get back in time for their break to end. We're bringing something that they can count on in their break room every day, and they know it's going to be there, they know it's going to be fresh, and they don't have to worry about it being sold out or something that they don't enjoy. We've also heavily invested in flavored water machine, so you can get a glass of water with a fresh piece of fruit in it, along with bean to cup coffee machine. So there's not a day that goes by we're not surprised when we get customers that call us and say, we didn't know you could do all this. We're really lucky to have a strong group of dedicated employees Most of our employees have been with us since inception. They're family to us, and people like doing business with people they like and trust. And I think the same thing goes for employees. In a day and an age where there's a lot of corporations that just look at an employee as a number and don't get to know them, that's just not the way I was raised or how I like to do business. So we're a little old-fashioned. We like getting close to our employees. We like knowing how we can help them. We like knowing how we can improve their lives, adjust their schedules, whatever it may be to help improve their quality of life. And we think in the end that makes for a happier employee. We're fortunate enough to have really grown over the last several years, and from Pennsylvania to Massachusetts to Connecticut, we really do have a strong connection, even though we're not in the rooms every day with these employees. There's not one single employee that we feel like we don't know, and certainly we know they can call us at any time, and they're definitely treated as family to us. I wake up every single day really excited to surprise our customers in a good way. The one thing I can tell you is I think that every one of our employees and every one of our customers will continue to be at the forefront of every decision we make.
Find out how Servomation can help you and your business by going to servomation.com. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. You know that we have our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with the Binghamton University Bearcats. And in this first year, we've gotten to tell plenty of stories with student athletes, coaches, and administration. We call it the Bearcat Breakroom, and it gives us an opportunity to spotlight teams as well as the individuals within those teams and the coaches and tell their stories of their journey to Binghamton, as well as how things have been going there in the southern tier at Binghamton University. So today we have a spotlight on the Binghamton men's tennis world, and with student athlete Ronin Lotlikar here with us, and happy to have him here inside of the 2024-25 season. Ronin, when I say your name, it makes me think, and I don't know if you're a fan of this, but there's a character in Marvel, Ronin the Accuser, and all I got to let you know is he's pretty badass.
Yeah.
So, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Do you know about Ronin the Accuser? You know about that from Guardians of the Galaxy?
No, actually, the thing is, a lot of times, I've heard of Ronin the Samurai.
Okay.
In relation to a samurai in Japan, but no, I haven't heard the Marvel one. Yeah.
So, is there a story behind the name Ronin? Did your parents tell you there was a specific reason why you got that name?
Yeah, so actually I'm international. I'm from India, and my parents didn't want a traditional Indian name, so they searched up unique names to give, and I guess they just landed upon Ronin. I also have a twin brother who plays college tennis at George Mason, and his name is Monil. So it kind of rhymes with each other, and I think my parents like that.
So Ronin and Monin, who do you think?
Monil.
Mornin?
Monil. M-O-N-I-L.
Oh, Monil. Okay. So kind of rhymes with each other. Who do you think got Who do you think got the cooler name?
I think me. 100%.
All right, fair. I can appreciate. So, Ronin, as we're here talking about Binghamton men's tennis, we're coming off of the Navy Gold Invitational. Bring me into just this event in and of itself, because, we're going to talk about a few things here and how you performed and whatnot. But going into the Navy Gold Invitational, how did you feel like you were performing this season? And then how do you feel like you did at the Navy Gold Invitational?
So, this season didn't start off too well for me. Played one tournament before this. It was a home tournament, the NEC Championships. And the winner of the NEC Championships gets a wild card to go to a national event in California. And I played pretty poorly, so it was pretty disappointing. But then I got a chance to play this event, the Navy. And I've always done well at Navy. I like the courts, I like playing over there. And I was excited to come back, worked really hard the last 2-3 weeks just to get my game back to where it's supposed to be. And I felt pretty confident going into the event and did pretty well. I got some good matches, both singles and doubles, and unbeaten in singles. So pretty happy with that.
And you said you started off the season not necessarily how you wanted to with the NateRentals.com NEC Invitational, which is hosted by Binghamton University. What was it about that invitational that you feel like improved from that to the Navy gold?
I think just working on parts of my game that didn't work during the tournament. Like I was during the tournament, I think I was attacking well from the baseline, but like something was just missing on the defense. I wasn't like consistent enough, and that's like what I worked on over the past 2-3 weeks. And then I think playing well on the attack and mixing that up with like playing well on the defense, like it just comes together and you start playing much better. So I think that's what improved most over the last few weeks.
You on a tennis court, are you loud or are you quiet?
Quiet.
You're quiet. Okay.
Yeah. My coach keeps trying to make me louder. I've gotten better ever since I came to college. Before college, I was really quiet.
Yeah.
And then came to this team environment. It's a new environment, and it's got to support your teammates. So even though I don't like it,
yeah,
I just do it.
So you're more quiet, but you're coming out of your shell. Who's the loudest of all of your teammates? Who's the one that's just like wherever you are, whatever court you're playing on, you hear that teammate?
Probably our captain, Kyle Weeks.
Okay.
He's very loud. Even in practice, he's always encouraging his teammates, keeping their standards high. And I think he's just like a very energetic individual. Like when he comes up, like when you see him in practice, you notice his presence. So he's a big, loud guy. So probably the loudest on the team.
So when you're in a match itself, do you have, like if you're playing well in singles, do you look across the court and do you say anything? Do you throw a stare? Like do you have that kind of like kill shot, so to speak, where you look across like I'm about to get you? Do you have that or no?
I wouldn't say so. I think I feel like I put my opponents to sleep in a way,
Okay.
The way I play, I think it's it's a bit different. Like a lot of my opponents, I think, just get pissed at me and like eventually just kind of give up.
So
I've noticed that a lot. Yeah.
You said you put your opponents to sleep.
Yeah.
How?
I think it's my game style. I do a lot of like my main strength is putting a lot of balls back in play.
Yeah.
And I like to mix up with like slices, drop shots, angles. Like I like to vary my game a lot, and I think over a set they get bored of playing me and they just give up.
So because of your variety, and the way that you feel like you kind of lull them to sleep.
Yeah.
So I mean, honestly, when I ask that question, I don't think I could have a better answer where you're just like, I just put my opponent to sleep. Like that's so great. Now, you said that you have this variety. How did you said it changes up over time. So do you ever have the same match twice? Or do you feel like, do you ever say to yourself, okay, if this is the score, I'm going to do this. If I'm up, I'm going to do this. If I'm down, I'm going to do that. Or does it always vary for you?
It pretty much always varies. Depends on the opponent and depends on the scoreboard. Like, if the opponent has a certain weakness, I try to target that in a way that works best for me. And also the scoreboard. Probably at the start of the match, I play a bit more cautious, just try and get myself settled into the match, let the nerves calm down. And then as the match goes on, I start trying to become more creative, control the points more. So, yeah.
Here on this Bearcat Breakroom with Ronin Lotlikar here from Binghamton at Bearcats men's tennis inside of the 2024-25 season. Being able to start off the season at home, as we spoke about, and being in Binghamton, New York, what can you to someone who's never been to the Lane Stark Tennis Center, how would you describe your home tennis environment and just what you like about the center itself?
Um, I describe it as fantastic.
Okay.
We just got 9 new outdoor courts, and like it's fantastic. It's on top of the hill. You get a nice view, like you get to see the sunset. It's like a fantastic place to play. And then, when you're practicing on those courts every single day, you get used to it, and it just becomes very familiar. So having a having a home tournament, especially at the start of the year, starting off your season at home, it's the best way you can like possibly start your season. So it's a great opportunity.
Indoor, outdoor, you have a preference? Because I know sometimes, obviously, the elements can alter a game or alter what you're going to do. So do you feel that you're better in than out than in? What are your thoughts on that?
I'd say out. Yeah, I think my strengths align with playing outdoor tennis.
Okay.
But I think over probably the past couple of years, I've become much better like playing on indoor and faster surfaces. Because like my serve's gotten better more. I learned to attack more. So indoor tennis has definitely improved, but I'd still say, given my basic strength is putting a lot of balls back in play, I'd still be more comfortable playing someone outdoors.
So are you like, if there's a little bit of wind, if there's a little drizzle or rain, you're fine with that? Or no?
A little bit of wind sometimes affects me, but because I'm not used to playing in the wind so much. Back in India, it's right in the middle of the city, so there's really no wind that I play in, even though I play outdoors. So takes a bit of time to get used to, but also your opponent has to play in the same wind. So I mean, it kind of evens out. I don't look at it as a problem too much.
I'm gonna try to say this correctly because obviously it's the home, but Bengaluru. Okay, so in Bengaluru, India, you said you're in the center of the city when you're play. So bring me into Bengaluru and what that was like growing up there in India. Just why home is special. What's different about it, specifically of Bengaluru?
So I think very special because I've been there for a lot of years. Like obviously my parents are there, but also a lot of my friends are there. It's always special to go back and see them, and that's what I feel. That's what I know is home. All these small places that you go and eat at, and like back to your old like coaches, you get to meet your old coaches. I think that community is kind of what makes it just special. That's why I like to call it home. And yeah, that's it.
So how often do you get to go home?
I try to go back. I go back after every semester.
Okay.
So for the summer for 3 months and in the winter for a month.
Okay. So you get to spend a good amount of time there. What do you miss the most when you're away from home?
Food, 100%. I think Indian food is the best food out there, and obviously like mom cooking, that's also another advantage. Like here, I'm not a great cook. I just make simple recipes.
Okay.
And you miss that flavor, you miss the spice that Indian food has. It's probably the biggest thing I miss from back home.
And I was going to say that, like, are you a fan of the spicy? Because that's obviously a piece of that Indian flavor. So do you like this? Do you like a lot of spice, or do you like that, or no?
Probably medium level spice.
Okay.
I think for Americans it would be very spicy.
Okay.
But like in India, you have another level of spice. Some people like crazy spicy food.
Yeah.
But I like good spice, good flavor. Anything that has good flavor, I love to eat.
So when you're here in the States and somebody, like, you all order food and and you're eating it and they're like, oh my gosh, this is so spicy, my mouth's on fire. Do you ever laugh and be like, you have no idea what this is?
Yeah. Some people call like the most like basic food spicy, like a little sauce or a little dip, and it's too spicy for them.
So you said mom cooks it at home. You miss mom's cooking. What is the greatest dish that mom has ever made?
Greatest dish.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's make everybody hungry right now.
Probably a tandoori chicken.
Okay, I've heard about that. So
Yeah. It's like you fry it on the grill
yeah.
and just very tender, very flavorful. Yeah.
Tandoori chicken. Okay, I like it. What's the time difference from here to Bengaluru? What time would it if it's 10 o'clock in the morning? It's what time in your home in India?
7:30 p.m. So not it's 9.5 hours ahead.
Wow.
And that's during like these summer months, and then in the winter, when daylight savings comes, it goes to 10.5.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's almost a full half a day in the future. Does your family ever mess with you and call you up and tell you like they're living in the future so they can tell you what the future looks like?
No.
They should. So you go back, you enjoy being at home. What do you well, two things. How did you find out about Binghamton University, and how would you describe Binghamton, New York?
So back in high school, I was playing tennis very seriously, and I wanted to continue playing it. And I also wanted to get a degree, and that was pretty hard to pursue back in India because you either have to do one of them. You can't really do both of them at the same time.
Yeah.
So then my dad knew of like college athletics in America, and started researching more about it, especially during COVID. And then I had this whole list of like D1 schools and D2 schools and D3 schools that I wanted to go to. And then just email any coach, email all the coaches, see who responded, and like got in touch with them, held calls and see who was interested. And eventually I ended up at Binghamton because coach was able to give me a spot.
So you make this list. You got D1, you got D2, you got D3.
Yeah.
How does Binghamton end up on the list of all these schools that you have?
So I think it was like a little bit of a criteria. I put like academics and like a basic like SAT score or a GPA. And then on the tennis side, I put so tennis has like a rating system called UTR, Universal Tennis Rating.
Okay.
And basically everyone around the world is based. You can get their like rating system. It's used all over the world, so you can see anyone's level around the world. So what I did was I would see colleges where my rating was where I would be able to play on the lineup of colleges here in the US, and I would just go through those colleges and email their coaches. So Binghamton ended up on the list, and I emailed coach, and we talked, and came here.
Did you think that you were a Division I player? I mean, I know you said you were looking at academics and you put D1, D2, and D3 schools in America on your list, but did you believe going into it that you had the ability to be a student athlete in Division I?
Yeah, I did think. It's also like you have D1 schools that are not that great in their level. I also knew from playing a lot of tennis and seeing these college matches online, that I could potentially match up. And, if I work hard in the next couple of years that I have in school, that I can end up playing D1 tennis. So I did have that belief, and I'm glad that I did make it to D1.
Here in this edition of the Bearcat Breakroom and Wake Up Calls exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton University. My guest here today, Ronin Lotlikar, here with us, Binghamton Bearcats men's tennis student athlete inside of the 2024-25 season. Before we get into rapid fire, I want to go back to the Navy Gold Invitational. And for you recorded 3 of your own straight set victories. against players that came from Princeton, Hartford CC, and Navy. So bring me into that, because I'm looking at how everything went here. Binghamton had 13 singles and 6 doubles wins across 3 days, and you and Benny, who had been on the show before here, going 3-0 to win your respective singles flights, going up against 3 different student athletes from 3 different schools. Just bring me into those sets and the experience and just how you pulled it off against Princeton, Hartford CC, and Navy.
Yeah, so obviously, like, coming into the tournament, I knew it was going to be tough matches. Last year we'd come to Navy, we'd seen like a lot of the same teams, and I ended up playing a lot of tough matches. So coming in, I knew I had to be on top of my game, and you see, I try to be locked in mentally, because that's a massive factor when you play tennis. Like, if your mind is right, even if your game technically is you're not playing too well, if you're determined, if you have the right strategy, you do win matches. So I played pretty solid on the weekend. Try to be focused throughout the matches. Try to work on whatever I've done the past few weeks, and ended up playing pretty well.
So, coming off of that, I mean, you've obviously spent time in Binghamton. This isn't your first go around.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you've played your best tennis yet, or can you get a sense in your veins that it's still to come?
I think it's still to come. I was playing really, really well last year, and I think a lot of a big part was being mentally on top of it. Like, I was winning a lot of like crucial points, a lot of tie breaks, a lot of third sets, and I think I still have a lot to improve in my game. Like, I'm someone who plays a bit defensive, and I still feel like I can work a lot on the aggressive parts of my game. And that's something I want to continuously add upon in the next couple of years. And that's where I feel I can make the biggest improvement. So I feel like I still have a long way to go. I want to do much better. I want to go like undefeated in conference, potentially make some national tournaments in the individuals. Yeah, so I feel like I have a lot of space to improve.
Do you see a world where, I know you got time because you're a junior, but do you see a world for you post-college where you're still playing tennis in some type of professional way?
Not really. I think tennis financially is a very tough sport if you're not in the top 100, top 200.
Yeah.
And it's like, to be honest, it's like so many players that are much better than me and who aren't even making money, who are like top 1,000, and they would kill me in a tennis match and they are making no money. So I think professionally, no. But, I still like to just go and play some professional tournaments, see what the level is like. You can obviously improve your game so much just being around those players. But maybe if I'm like an entrepreneur or something and I have my own time, I'd love to like go on a tour and play some professional events.
What's the sport like in India? Like, when you go back, are you just, taking on anybody at any time, and they're just like, all right, Ronin's home, like, we want your best game? Or bring me, like, what is the sport comparative to what we're seeing here in America? How would you describe the sport of tennis in India?
Let's say we got some solid levels, some good juniors especially. I don't really crush anyone back home. I've only played one tournament, and I didn't win that. So the level's pretty solid. I've also become like playing the open category now, so end up playing a lot of guys who are playing like professional tournaments at the lower level, the ITF circuit. So you end up playing a lot of good solid players that are playing year-round, full-time tennis players, and I think the level's pretty solid. So obviously it's not as competitive as it's here, but there's also, I think, less opportunity back home. So the level might be a bit lower, but the draws, I would say, are more condensed. So it still becomes pretty tough. There's a lot of good matchups that you play back home.
I think you're being modest. I think you're probably going easy on him. You're a ringer out there when you go back home. But I want to get into your head coach. Nick Zazula has been on the show a bunch of times. What is it about Nick that sold you? I know you talked about academics. You talked about finding, a good fit and how you made a list of a bunch of schools and did your research and whatnot. But what is it about Coach Zazula that just speaks to you?
I think the fact that he focuses on a lot on the process. Like when I came in as a freshman, he wasn't too focused on the results, and he was more focused on improving my game. Like when I came in, I was extremely defensive, extremely conservative in my play, and he's helped me come out of that shell and become more aggressive, become more louder.
Okay.
He hasn't always been like, you have to win this match. It's more about do these things right. If the match goes your way, it goes your way. So I think that's one of the biggest things. I think the best qualities that he has, and also the work he does off court, focuses a lot on keeping our academics right, and all the community service that we do, and alumni events that we do. I think he's doing a great job here, and it's great to see.
Do you have a favorite Coach Zazula moment? Something he said or something he did?
Probably at the after we were on conferences, we went up and he was just walking on the side. I think he was getting the cameras up from each of the courts, and since we won conference, we took a whole jug of Gatorade. Those big jugs of water, and we went and put it on his head, and it's just great to see because he's been through a lot. And we had some rough losses last semester, and to see us come out on top at the end was great to see.
And when you go back and you look at last season, it was your first season in the NEC.
Yeah.
And so in the Northeast Conference, first season as a member of that, an associate member, and you defeated Stonehill, you defeated Lemoyne, and then in the championship you defeated St. Francis and advanced on to the NCAA tournament to go off against the Michigan Wolverines of the Big Ten. I know that this is a new season, but that was an incredible run. Do you still feel the momentum from that? Do you still feel the energy from how well you all finished off last season and advanced to the NCAAs?
Yeah, 100%. I think winning gives you a lot of confidence and a lot of motivation. And our goal this year is to repeat that, so I think it also keeps us on our toes to make sure that we're defending our title. And it's not they just won once and don't care anymore. So I think winning gives you that motivation. And I think everyone's more excited. Last year we went to Columbia to play Michigan. If you win the conference, maybe you can get a trip to California to play UCLA. So I think that's a big motivating factor. And so excited for this year. Going to keep working hard and make sure that we do the basic things right to make sure that we can win conference again.
Yeah, and you said do the basic things right. You take that energy, you take the positives, but you also have to stay humble and focused. Do you believe that this team, as good as it felt to get as far as you did last year, do you believe that this team is resting on last season, or do you feel like the team is just as hungry, if not more hungry, to go even farther?
I think just as hungry. The thing was, we had the NEC Invitational back in September, and we didn't do too well. That there were two people from other teams that ended up going to California. So it's a big motivation for us to, keep our standards and become number one again and start winning these conference matches.
There's a very important thing that we have to take care of when it comes to Coach Zazula before we get into rapid fire. I've talked to multiple teammates of yours, and I've also spoken with Coach Zazula. I'm still waiting for my NEC Champions t-shirt. So do you think that if you say something to Coach that maybe it'll happen?
I think it'll happen.
Okay.
I'll make sure to give him a reminder tomorrow.
Yeah, please make sure you do that. So let's play some rapid fire. We're here with Ronin Lotlikar of the Binghamton Bearcats men's tennis team 2024-25 season inside of the Bearcat Breakroom on Wake Up Call and our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with the Binghamton University Bearcats. It is time for Ronin and I, for the first time ever together, to play rapid fire. Our questions can be about literally anything. No pressure. We have to answer them. So you pick the topic, you pick the question. Ronin, you get the first one. What do you got for me?
Yeah. Favorite food?
Boy, darn it. Well, I'm very spoiled because I'm Hispanic and Italian. So I would say, oh, man. I don't know if I could pick just one, but it's home cooking. Like, my grandmothers have both passed away. But if they were here, my Gammy Miller's rigot pie, chicken noodle soup, her veal, and then my G Mama's stuffed shells, meatballs, brajol, and then my mom, who is alive and well and being awesome every day. I would say, Mom, man, I mean, pretty much anything Mom makes. But she makes a good Italian wedding soup. She always makes a great salad. Like, I know it's a simple thing to certain people, but it's always good. Her, like, turkey rolled meal, which is like a mini Thanksgiving, I love. But yeah, I mean, pretty much anything my mom makes. So I don't know if I can choose one. I'll just say home cooking from the women in my family.
Yeah.
My question back to you, Ronin. We already talked about food. So my question back to you, what is one thing that you can do in India that you can't do here in America that you miss?
I think just stepping out of the house and getting amazing food. Oh, what I do back in India, there's this place near my house. So I ended up going for tennis practice, and then immediately after tennis practice, me and my friends go to this small shop.
Okay.
And you get like some foods, like snacks, like Indian snacks. It's just amazing, and like it's very cheap also as well, because food is very cheap back in India. So that's probably the biggest thing. Yeah.
What are some of the snacks?
It's called momos. Okay. It's like a Northeast Indian dish, and it's very spicy. I don't know if you guys would be able to handle that, but I find it tough myself to handle the level of spice. So yeah, that's something I miss.
So they're called momos, but you got a few people saying no. So that's not. Keep that. But I mean, I like spicy food, so I'd be all about giving some of this food a try.
Yeah.
But you know, I do. I mean, my thing is, like, I like the spicy food. I like the way that it tastes, and then depending on what it is, my body sometimes is like no. But I like to have the food and try the food. I like sweet and spicy to mix with each other.
Yeah.
So, okay, what's your second question for me?
How did you end up doing podcasting for like D1 schools in the Northeast?
Yeah, I mean, great question. I am from Syracuse, which is an hour north of Binghamton. And when I started my company back in 2012, July of 2012, I just, was thinking about different. I like being original. I like being unique. I like stepping into new places that nobody's been in, or I don't really think anybody does it the same way that I do it, and I'm not afraid to try. So I came up with an idea called a multimedia marketing partnership, and I thought of Binghamton years ago, and I tried. I tried to kind of knock on the door and tell them what I was doing, and I had to be patient, and I, kind of look up at God and say, all right, I'm going to try again, and I'm going to try again. And Lemoyne was first, Bryan and Stratton, Syracuse after that, and then, Binghamton, after 3.5 years of having that thought, it just worked out. And why do I do it? I care about the Southern Tier. I care about Binghamton University. I think that it's a hidden gem. I don't think it should be hidden. And I just like telling the stories. I think the campus is beautiful. I think that I love the fact that it's a public Ivy League. I love that education is important. I like the coaches and the student athletes like yourself. I've met a lot of really nice people, good people, kind-hearted people. So, I got into it wanting to help, and being in it a few months here, I really, really like the people. So I feel like, that desire to keep trying for Binghamton and then it happening, I just feel very grateful to God that I've met a lot of really nice people and people that just seem to care about people, which ultimately means more to me than anything.
That's great.
My question back to you, Ronin. It'll be the final question of the conversation, and that question is going to be, if you could, because people in America, you ask them where they want to go overseas, they want to visit India, they want to visit Europe, and this and that. If you could visit anywhere in the world that you've never been, it's a 3-part question. Where do you go? You can take one person that you know, and you can take one celebrity.
I think I would go to the French Riviera.
Okay.
Like Monaco and south of France.
Okay.
Fantastic place. Like I've seen the pictures, and like they play a massive tennis tournament there, and the stadium is right behind the sea, right in front of the sea.
Okay.
It's a fantastic place. So that's where I'd like to go. Second question, I think I take my brother. He's probably the person closest to me.
Okay.
So it'd be great to have him there. And celebrity, I don't really know. I think I'd take some tennis player with me.
Okay. Do you have
a bowling answer, but
do you have a favorite tennis player right now?
Yeah, Novak Djokovic.
Okay. Should you take it?
I would take it.
Yeah. So fair enough. That coming from Ronin Lotlikar here on the Binghamton Bearcats Bearcat Breakroom here with Binghamton Men's Tennis Spotlight here inside of the Men's Tennis 2024-25 season, and of course inside of Wake Up Call's exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton University. Ronin, it has been my absolute pleasure to have you here on the show, and means a lot to me, the opportunity to speak with you and get to tell your story and get to learn about your story. And I think we made history because we've had over 5,000 guests on the show, but I don't think I've ever talked to someone who was born in India. So I think that's really amazing. It's really cool. And I hope that your family gets to see this. And if they do, hi family. And also Mom, when you if you send food to your son, make sure you send extra because I want to try it. So.
Thank you for having me, and congrats on the 5,000 guests.
Oh, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. So, Ronin, I know the season's just begun. Hoping great things for you and the team, and congrats on the Navy Gold Invitational, and thank you for your time, for real.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, sir.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, is your one-stop sports card and collecting card shop. You can go there and find hockey, basketball, baseball, football, soccer, and so much more, including Disney Lorcana, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, and Pokemon, while supplies last. You got to get out there, and you got to get there today. They have singles, they have graded cards, they have packs, they have boxes, and they are constantly bringing in new product, constantly changing things and evolving. And it's just an amazing experience at GG Cards and Breaks. It brings me back to being a kid and going to get cards with my mom and my grandmas. And, you know, making those memories today means just as much as it did back then. My mom coming in with me and, you know, we'll be hanging out and the guys are great, Josh and Anthony and Alex and Joel and so on and so forth. And we're, you know, in the store and my mom will look at me and she'll go, all right, pick a pack, because it's something we used to do when I was little growing up. And my mom still wants to have that. And I value my mom greatly, and I value those bonds greatly. And I see people come in with their kids of all different ages. And when we do trade nights, you got kids that are maybe 9-10 years old, and then you got people in their 50s and 60s buying, selling, and trading. So GG Cards and Breaks, it's just an awesome place. And a sports card, a trading card, you think like, okay, that's, you know, it's a piece of cardboard, Dan. What does that do? Well, to a lot of people, it connects them more so to their favorite player, to their team, to the characters that they love. They get to play games like Disney Lorcana and Magic the Gathering and Pokemon and so on and so forth. It's something that kind of feeds that kid spirit. And it's something you can collect. I mean, I can look at a card and I can tell you, this is where I think I got it, right? You know, I can look at something and say, I bought that at GG Cards and Breaks. I bought it before the season started. I got it because he got drafted to my favorite team. There's just a difference at GG Cards and Breaks. There's a different feel. It comes with care. It comes with hard work. It comes with dedication. And I respect it. So that's why they're our sports card and trading card shop of choice. They're open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6, and on Sundays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. It is now time for us to get into the ingredients to success. The ingredients to success, proudly presented by the wonderful, wonderful team at Avicolli's. And Avicolli's does a tremendous job. Tremendous job. And I talked about it a little bit earlier. Their food is great. Their service is great. They're led by a fantastic leader who's there all the time in John Fratto. And, of course, the Avicolli family. And I want to thank them all for the work that they do. the ingredients to success gives me an opportunity to speak with you on something that, topics and whatnot that can hopefully uplift you, hopefully help you, right? We all go through stuff. We all got stuff going on. We all have a busy lifestyle filled with a lot of different things and whatnot. And I actually got a message here that I want to read really quick. Ronin's mom here watching live. Dan, happy to pack extra food for Ronin to share with you. Let's go. I love it. I absolutely love it. Yay, Mom. I'm all about it. So thank you for that. And I'm happy that you got to watch from India. So that means a lot to me. Wake Up Call was in India today. And that is because of the Lotlikar family. So thank you to all of you in Bengaluru as well as in India in general. Shout out to Ronin's family, to his mother and father and all of his family. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And I appreciate you so very much. I know that you're about I think it's like Ronin said, 9.5 hours difference right now. So, we're almost at 11 o'clock, which means that you're at like 8 o'clock at night. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And I hope I get to see you all at some point if you get to come and visit. Ronin is just a wonderful young man, and it was an honor for me to be able to talk with him. So thank you to Ronin's family for watching and listening from India, and my prayers and my well wishes and my hopes. God bless you all. And much love and much appreciation. I know you got more than one child, and I can speaking with Ronin here. You raised a very nice young man that was a pleasure to talk with, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him be successful on and off the court. So thank you for your message, and I appreciate you very much. God bless. So with that being said, let's jump into the ingredients to success here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. Today's topic is what you bring in. What you bring in. What are you bringing in? What are you bringing into your life? Think about life as like groceries, right? What are you bringing into your home? What are you bringing into your sanctuary? What are you allowing into your life? Because what you bring into your life is going to affect you. What you decide to have in your life is going to have its effect on you. Because, what do people say? Like, you are what you eat. And statements like that. Like, you become the energy that you absorb the energy that you put around you. So what you bring into your life is going to have an effect on you. Without doubt, it's going to have an effect on you. And are you being cognizant of what you're bringing in? So what are the ingredients for that? What are the ingredients for what you bring in? Well, you have to deem what's important to you. That's first. You got to look at what's important to you. What do you value in your life, right? And are those things that you value, are they good? Are they not good? In today's world, people say that good is relative. No. There's good and there's evil, right? You're not supposed to steal. You're not supposed to kill. There's a lot of things that you're not supposed to do, but we live in this world where people want to live in a gray area. They want to live with, if I say it's okay and I get somebody else to believe it's okay, then I don't have to feel guilty for what I did. And that shouldn't be the case. There's right and there's wrong. There's good and there's evil. And when evil starts to blend with the good, evil wins. So when you're looking at what you're bringing into your life, you have to really think about, like, yes, okay, we have money in life. and you make money so that you can buy things and this, that, and whatever. But is money a higher concern to you than love, than family, than health? Because you can stack up your money to the ceiling, but if you don't have your health, what is that money good for? You know, what you bring into your life really starts to seep into you. If you surround yourself with people that are dramatic, you'll have a lot of drama in your life. People say, oh no, you know, these are just my friends and we're just different. No, eventually that drama, it's like soot. If you surround yourself with toxicity, those toxic chemicals will seep into your bloodstream. If you surround yourself with kind-hearted people and good people, then that goodness, that light will seep into your bloodstream. We are what we surround ourselves with. And you may say, you know, hey, Dan, I got a bunch of friends that are partiers and they get drunk and they fall asleep downtown in alleyways, but I'm not like them. But those are the only people I hang out with. Well, number one, people are going to look at perception, and if they see you with those people, they're going to think you're exactly like that. And on top of that, if that's who you're surrounding yourself with, and they're going out and blacking out and going out and blacking out and going out and blacking out, don't you eventually become a part of that atmosphere if you go out with them? Because bare minimum, you're going to have to find a way home for them. You may not go out and black out, but you may have to go out and take care of and go out and take care of and go out and take care of every time. And eventually that energy seeps into your life. The decisions made by the people you surround yourself with, those things you start to feel. You know, I've been around people before that have been very prejudiced towards something, very racist or sexist, and I've ended friendships because any form of hate is hate, and I don't want to be a part of it. And in me being around it wasn't going to make me absorb that prejudice, but it made me look like if I sat around this thing and kept my mouth shut and didn't make a change, that I'm okay with it. And I wasn't. So, I mean, energy is a big thing. You know, people talk about, I feel your energy. I can sense your energy. And I'm one of those people that can walk by somebody and I can feel what type of person is this. If there's something bad going on, I can sense a lot of things. And energy is really big to me. Are you around people that make you just exhausted? It's just dramatic and it's heavy and it's frustrating. Or do you surround yourself with people that even when you're exhausted, they make you laugh, they bring out the best in you, they're like a nice ray of sunshine on your face? What you bring into your life is going to affect your energy. It's going to affect your mood. You might be the most positive of people, but I'm going to paint you a little example. I have a family member that has since passed, and may they rest in heaven. Here on earth, they were very negative for a long period of time. And no matter how positive I was, when I went to go visit them, there was like this constant gray cloud. And every time I sat with them and I talked with them and their negativity was just like there, the longer I stayed, the harder it was for me to fight the negative energy. And I would go home, and no matter how good I felt or how strong I felt going in or how much armor I put on to go into their house, I went home feeling paranoid, second-guessing, negative, down in the dumps, sad, depressed, because I was absorbing their energy. And I got to a point where I said, I love this person so very much, but I don't want to be around them. And I was struggling with that because it wasn't a mean thing. It was every time I'm around this person, I struggle to, not that I'm not happy and not that I'm not strong, but it's like negative, 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 negative. And every time it gets heavy and it gets hard. And other people in my family would be like, you go visit them, because they didn't want to be around it, arguably. And I was like, okay, well, why won't you go? And it was just the negativity. People don't like being around negativity. And it's not saying that you can't be frustrated. It's not saying you can't be upset about things that have happened in your life. And it's not saying that you can't share, but you can't live in it. I've had things happen to me in my life. We all have. And I can talk to you about it. If somebody says like, oh, what happened with this? I can tell you. But do I have to tell you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the next Monday, the following Tuesday? Because after a while, it's like, okay, let's talk about something else. We all have to work through our problems. And I'm a vocal person. I'm a person that's not going to pack it down deep in my stomach and just hope it goes away. But I'm also a person that's learned that talking about a problem does not solve it. Talking about the solution solves the problem. A lot of people want to tell you everything that's wrong with their lives, but they don't ever talk to you about how to fix it. And they might ask you, how do I fix this? And then the next day they just talk about the problem. And you're like, wait a minute, I gave you something to try. And then they just talk about the problem again. And you realize over time that they don't necessarily want to solve the problem. They may just want attention. And I'm a problem solver. I'm not somebody who likes to sit within a problem. And as I say that, I think about some things like technologically in the studio that I updated something, and since I updated it, it's not working the way I want it to, and I'm checking myself in my brain going, if you're going to say that on the show right now live, you need to figure out how you're going to assess this thing in the studio, because the software updated, and when it updated, it conversely is working kind of against things that it used to do. Now, do I think it's the fault of the company? May it very well. I mean, if they're the ones that created the software and the update, then yeah. But I've talked to them. I've reached out to them. I got to reach out one more time, and I have to assess the situation. Because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And as much as that might sound crazy, a lot of us do that. A lot of us say, well, I know this isn't good for me, but I like it. And you have to really think about what you're putting into your body. And that's not just food. And that's not just drinks. That's what are you absorbing with your eyes? What are you absorbing with your ears? What type of energy people are you around? Because my dad told me a long time ago, you have so much energy that God gives you every day. And once it's gone, it's gone. Once it's used, it's used. So how are you going to spend it? Because if you get all types of stressed out and by noon, half of your energy's gone and you're going to stay up till 10 o'clock, what are you going to do for the next 10 hours? You just blew through all this energy in the first 4 hours you were awake. That means something to me. And you have to be very much an attention to detail person. Because when somebody's like, why am I in a bad mood? I'm just in a bad mood. Go back. What did you put yourself around? What did you watch? What did you listen to? Who did you talk to before you went to bed? Energy is real. The fact that somebody said, like some people call it an aura, but they can feel it, right? When somebody says like, oh, I'm around this person and they're so warm. They're so warm. I feel safe. That's an aura. That's an energy. I'm around this person and I'm constantly like fidgeting and I'm uncomfortable. I'm like twitchy. That's an aura. That's an energy. So it would behoove you today to be very open and honest with yourself about what you're putting into your body food-wise, drink-wise, thought-wise, what you watch, what you read, what you listen to, because it does have an effect on you. As human beings, we think that children are sponges. No, you are always a sponge. What you listen to, what you take in, what you read, what you see, it affects you. And living a simple life, and that doesn't mean that you're not on social media or that you don't have electricity or, that you eat like one thing and nothing else. It means when you kind of break everything down in your life and you start to live more simply. What are you taking out? And what are you doing? I mean, we all have to do spring cleaning, but sometimes we have to do spring cleaning in the fall. Sometimes spring cleaning is inside of us and not in our garage. But if you want to be healthy, you got to check yourself. You don't wait for somebody to check you. You got to check you. If you're not okay, in order to be okay, you have to do something differently. You have to take steps. And in the world that I live in, I want everybody to be okay. I don't want happiness to be for a select few. I want it to be for everyone. But we got to work at it. It doesn't just come. The ingredients to success, proudly presented by the fantastic team at Avicolli's. 7839 Oswego Road at the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, right down the road from Liverpool High School. And it is the home of our Liverpool Warriors monthly broadcast on site, on location at Avicolli's. We look forward to seeing you there. You can check our social media to find out when we're going to be there again. Jerry said, I would get in the car and let out an ear-shattering scream before I drove off. I always felt better. Sometimes you got to let it out, Jer. I'm the type of person that can go for a ride. I just go for a ride. And some other people have to go, I also sit in nature. Some people have to meditate. Some people have to put music on. Some people, instead of screaming, Jerry, they're going to sing at the top of their lungs. But you know what works for you. And as long as you're not hurting anybody and you're being productive, do what works for you. Because waiting to be happy someday leaves most people in hospital beds saying, I wish I should have. I could have. Well, I would have. Don't wait until you're in a hospital bed to say, if I could go back, I'd change it all. Do it now, so that when you're in that hospital bed, you say, though I don't want to go yet, even if I'm 100 whatever, my grandmother was still rocking at 100 and a half in 9 days. But you might be in that bed someday. And when you are, I hope you're old, I hope you're healthy, I hope you lived a long, long life. And I hope you don't say the words, I shoulda, I woulda, I coulda. I hope you say, I did, I'm proud of it, I lived it to the best of my ability, and though I made mistakes, I took risks that were calculated, and I tried. Because life is not about figuring it out at the end. It's about figuring it out in the middle. That little dash that's on everybody's tombstone, the year you were born and the year you passed, that little tiny dash represents your entire life. How are you going to spend the dash? Think about it. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, we're live with you, and we're happy to be with you. Now, this week's going to be a little bit different like last week because I will be traveling. But there will be shows for you to watch, so don't you worry. We don't have sweeps on Wake Up Call. We put new things out there so that you have something to watch, even if I'm on the road, because I care about you, and I appreciate the fact that you tune in. Wake Up Call is with you live Monday through Friday in our normal schedule, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. Once the shows go live, they hop into the archives on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, YouTube, and more. All you have to do on any one of these channels is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Big time thanks to our incredible partners in Central and Upstate New York, as well as Brooklyn Pickle in North Carolina on 1788 Old Morganton Road in Southern Pines, down the road from Pinehurst Golf Course, which is known throughout the country, if not the world. So make sure when you're down in Pinehurst Town that you head off to Brooklyn Pickle in Southern Pines, North Carolina on 1788 Old Morganton Road. Our partners here in Central and Upstate New York, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Servomation, Mother's Cupboard, Avicolli's, Great Lakes Honda City, Fire Pit Barbecue and Saloon, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Pizza Man, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Ma and Pa's, the snack capital of the world on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Find out what I'm talking about by going over to their store. Chick-fil-A Cicero, GG Cards and Breaks, Brian's Landing, and of course we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins. It's Fins Up every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Dolphins during Dolphin time by being with us Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time for us diving into the stories of student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni. You can find all of our Dolphin content, over 3 years of it, on youtube.com/WakeUpCallDT. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our Lemoyne playlist. You can also find the Dolphins on WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to LeMoyneDolphins.com, and as always, Fins Up. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse have 2 campuses available to you. One right outside of downtown Syracuse. If you go up James Street, outside of the city of Syracuse, go straight up James Street's hill, and it'll be right there for you, and very easily located by multiple neighborhoods, as well as getting off of multiple highways. They're also located off of Route 57 in Liverpool, across the street from Avicolli's, for their newest campus for Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse. We do something called the Bobcat Buzz, going into stories of student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year. Men's and women's soccer, men's and women's basketball, as well as baseball and esports, are all right here on Wake Up Call with Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse. You can find them by going to youtube.com/WakeUpCallDT. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find the BSC Syracuse playlist. You can also find your Bobcats by going to WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com and go Bobcats. The Binghamton University Bearcats call Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora home in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership. Your Bearcats are here every week during Bearcat time, like today, at 10 a.m. Eastern Time on Tuesdays, featuring throughout the year moments with Marshall, with Binghamton University Athletics Director Gene Marshall, as well as the Bearcat Breakroom, like today with Ronin Lotlikar, with stories from student athletes, coaches, and administration. You can find all of our Binghamton content by going to youtube.com/WakeUpCallDT. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find the Binghamton playlist. You can also find your Bearcats by going to WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to binghamtonbearcats.com and go Bearcats. With that being said, I want to thank my guests inside of MaandPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. Big time thanks to Adrian Autry, Chris Bell, and JJ Starling from the Syracuse Orange men's basketball team. Many thanks once again to Ronin Lotlikar from the Binghamton Bearcats men's tennis team, and originally from Bengaluru, India. And this was his first ever interview. So it is my honor to be able to share that moment with Ronin, and he was a true pleasure. And I look forward to talking with him again. And the ingredients to success on what you bring into your life, proudly presented by Avicolli's, where you should go for lunch right now. With that being said, Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, X at CallDT, Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. For now, from the Wake Up Call Studios, I say God bless, no stress, do your best. We'll talk soon.